Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attacker Productions. Tonight I'm Bancroft.
How come you can't say your own name?
I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm just going to go with we're here, we're going, we're good, and I'm being joined by a bunch of people, but the Dragon Ball game going on right now, we'll get into that details later. But today's guests are Jimmy, Jake, Tanner, Nick, and like always, Fluff.
That's unfortunate.
So,
Jake.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? There were so many names, I forgot where I fell in the list.
Hi, everybody.
I'm here too.
And I don't think, Tanner, did you say hi?
yes, it's up.
Okay. And for today's round 3 PC game competition, we have our contestants playing a Jurassic Park Evolution versus I Am Bread. In case you're curious, Fluff, you're Jurassic Park, and Nick is I Am Bread. With that being said, go over your decks, and oh yeah, there's buttons. Click them. Like, please. I know I messed up, but hey, we're human, right?
Tell Bancroft you're disappointed in him, that he's done this intro about 1,000 times and still can't do it on a regular basis.
Yeah,
I always thought that was part of the charm.
it really is. So I play in Syn Shenron. I would consider this more of a control version of the deck more than the aggro version. But for being a control-based deck, it puts a lot of pressure in. So I had a really hard choice this first turn and had to end up charging one of my Omegas. I didn't really like that as a solution, but it was either that or charge like my Go cards. So I just had to do it.
Yeah, understandable. And Bancroft said earlier, I'm playing I Am Bread. It's exactly how I felt this whole game. Like, I just felt like a piece of wet toast. If you ever heard what bricking is, that's what's going to happen to me.
I would just you definitely, this was a hard match for you.
Yeah, and well, it's not like I haven't played Syn Shenron. I mean, I've played some of your previous builds earlier.
Oh, dude,
but
you have given me the worst demoralizing loss with my Syn Shenron build, to the point that I actually came off of the deck because of how badly you beat me.
oh,
It just convinced me that the deck at that point was not playable because of how solidly you just said no, not today.
yeah. Let the record show this is the nicest thing Fluff has said to me to date.
Stenographer will make a note.
It physically hurt me to say that.
Oceania, is that not limited per turn?
You can only do it once per turn.
Okay. What's the card underneath it then?
She bursts one.
Okay.
As part of her effect, right? So I think I ended up bursting the Ice Shenron on the effect, which isn't the desired, but it is a free 15k that I'll be able to play with this Nova. So I really do appreciate that type of synergy. And you'll see here, the Nova is a lot of value in this matchup. And you'll see that because I have a Shadow Dragon on build, I can play him for 1. But I think I end up opting to go into the 4-drop to keep his leader from swinging next turn. This 4-drop Syn Shenron is irreplaceable in this
Absolutely.
deck. Is probably the best effect in the deck.
Yeah, and generally it just steamrolls through any old type of deck, just period. Any old leaders will require a lot of draw, and they require swinging for that. And you just denying your opponent a swing, which hurts a lot, especially with me, because my main draw is some of my counters, but mostly it's my leader swing to at least give me the influential cards I need. And you just said no.
Yeah, and I think the 4-drop Shenron, its value compounds with every new set, because we get so many sets or so many leaders that the entire engine is based off of the skill of the leader, and that's usually tied to some form of attack.
Yeah.
So being able to tap it down in certain matchups can just turn off your opponent's entire deck. Like Vegeta on his Awakened side, when you swing, you can pick up an energy and lay it back down. That starves him of a untap and, possibly swapping out an energy for a card that's more prevalent or more useful in his hand at that current moment.
Yeah, and that's that's pretty much the leader. That's the leader. That's why I play the leader, and just being able to deny that to me, it hurts. I think you get the effect off one more time later in the game, but yeah, just the second time, like I just wasn't able to do anything.
Yeah.
So with Invoker, clearly you want to establish the Tournament of Power Arena as early as possible. I didn't have it in hand because I would have already played it by now. But like I was explaining to Bancroft was watching the game mostly, but as I explained, it's like I don't do much my first 2 turns, especially if I don't establish the Tournament of Power Arena, because I mean there's just nothing you can do with the multicolor extra cards because they cost too much on their own. And the Invoker Vegeta plays on turn 3, so you really don't do much until you establish that card on board. So a lot of my turn was literally just a charge pass.
Yeah, and I'm able to establish so much value here in those 2 non-action turns. I've got the Nova engine going. I've played the best Nova target in the deck to the field. I was able to establish an Oceanus in the drop area, play out an Omega. I'm ready to go into my 9-drop Syn after getting full value out of the 4. I'm just going. Really, the only thing that would make this hand better was if I had another Omega in hand with 7 in the drop to go on ahead and go in for triple strike this turn.
Yeah, this is a prime example of watching one deck completely work and one deck completely not working.
Yeah. Yeah. But I will say, in most of my other games over the course of this night, I was able to get the 4-drop Shenron effect off 3 or 4 times over the course of a game. And you'll see kind of as this game goes along, you do a really good job of keeping that part of my deck locked down.
Yeah.
But I also felt like because of that, the other parts of my deck are able to persist and basically boil over because of it.
Yeah, a lot of the older Syn Shenron deck list relied so much on the 1/4 9-drop chain. If you were able to stop it, that's pretty much GG's. They couldn't really do much at that point. But since you're playing a lot of the newer stuff, the other stuff, you're able to just say, that's okay. I got my other engines I can play, and I can play more effectively still while keeping the pressure on.
Yeah, set 12 was so good for the Shadow Dragon package. Just because...
It's been very interesting seeing how Syn Shenron has evolved, and it is kind of a artificial evolution of the deck due to the cards releasing over time. But getting to see every single iteration of the deck has been really interesting.
Yeah.
Where it started out as this start control deck where you relied on the 9-drop the entire time and denying your opponent's skills, to this weird hybrid aggro into what it is now, which it can... you can have a deck that pivots, multiple times in one game from being a control deck into a very aggressive deck.
Yeah.
On a side note, this was so ridiculous. Both those autos proccing and the way they procced, first it blanks the card, and then the other card's able to tap it right away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have a Poutine on the field. So not only will I blank a card coming in, I will tap it, and then I have another optional tap plus negate for a second card coming in.
It's very solid.
Which one? Is it New Wave? Is it the winter one that's on top that causes the tapping?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it
so
a
it has
card as well, or how's it for you?
No. It says when your opponent plays a battle card, you may choose that card and switch it to rest mode. If you do, negate the skill for the turn.
Okay, because Poutine, it's the auto, so you have to do it on the first card being played.
Correct. Poutine is on the first card being played.
So you can stagger it, doing Poutine first and Nature on second.
Nature on, that's the card. Okay.
Yeah, that card is really good. Nick and I talked a lot about this deck after, and the deck is great, and you see that it's going off perfectly fine. But I still find myself wishing there were more Nature on and more of the Omega Dragon Shadow or Omega Shenron Ultimate Dragon in the deck. So I think I'm going to go up one more on each of those, just because I want to be able to see them more consistently, because having that Natron on the field until you're ready to go off is so pivotal towards controlling certain matchups. I really wish that I had a way to get rid of his Vegeta during his last turn, because I now know that I have to play through the Invoker package.
Yeah, this is really where the deck shines, is the turn 3 through 5, just straight defense. Like, it's hard. If you have the right stuff in hand, it's hard to get through an Invoker defensive step.
And the only way that I can think of to get rid of it now is I have a Vegeta Final Flash in hand, and I could probably pop the Vegeta, but I charged to Vegeta's Final Flash. I really want to keep the one that I have in hand in case he's able to get Apex out, or the dual attack triple strike, because I want to be able to just negate those attacks, or basically take the value out of those win conditions. So I don't want to burn that now. So my solution, instead of using that to get rid of the Vegeta, is to just play through all of his negates and counters. So it might seem like I get a little greedy here and I start like just recklessly doing stuff, but I know the only way that I'm going to get through this is to just get through it. And Shadow Dragons are energy efficient enough that I can really force him to use 3 or 4 cards a turn.
Yeah. And you have that. Yeah, your board is wide enough to where you have that capability. I didn't see my floodgates, which the only one I run in this list is Topo, because that's the only one that's really prevalent, at least in this list right now. And I just didn't see any of them. If Topo might have changed a little bit, but because I would have been able to untap with D Magic, so if he would have got too greedy, that would have helped me. But I didn't see it. So
yeah, Topo would have definitely. Because I am exchanging hand size for this, and Topo would have definitely stopped that. I would not have continued if you put a Topo out. I would have most happily passed and just let you have that.
yeah, which that's what I hope for mostly. But as you can see, like I just don't have enough value. I have a lot in my hand, but I just don't have enough value in my hand to be able to keep playing. So at this point, it's just a war of attrition. Just seeing what would be the best thing for me to do if I can survive another turn or not. And now I'm just trying to make it.
So that was Royalcom 1, and then Royalcom 2 on the ball. I wonder if you should have let me play the ball and then pay 1 more energy to try to play another 4 and make me waste 2 energy. I don't know
if that wouldn't have changed much, honestly. And plus, I need more extra cards in my drop just for Apex or the Rival Seeker, because I need to get stuff in the warp, and I just didn't have enough at the time. So. And I always feel like if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out at least protecting myself a little bit more than usual.
Yeah. Which, definitely playing through 2 Royalcoms, like, you said you bricked. And it didn't feel like you bricked there. I was like, gosh, okay, this is doing what Invoker's going to do. This is going to be such a grindy slog for me to get through. Even though, you're only on, 5 or 6 cards in hand at this point, I'm only on the same. And I don't have an established Shenron on the field at this point. I don't think I have a way to get into another one. I just have to try to get rid of your Vegeta.
Yeah.
And I was honestly surprised that you were able to combo out of 2 dedicated attacks on the Vegeta, which is kind of odd and rare for Invoker. Most traditional Invoker lists, if you can swing into the Vegeta and combo 5 to 10k above it, you just get rid of it.
Yeah,
It's odd to see Invoker even make it to the battle step.
Yeah.
Like, normally you have some way to deal with the card, even if it's what is the 2-drop? Is it Goku and Vegeta that bounces a card? Like, that's the only card I can think of in Invoker that you would want to make it to the battle step to use.
Yeah.
So seeing the deck combo at all is really interesting.
Yeah, and it doesn't have much combo power. I had super combos, so those were free. And then the Rival Seeker is free too when you have an extra card and drop. So I think I had one of those too because I got rid of it. But essentially, with Invoker, I mean, it's a year old, so most people know how to play it. But essentially, you're just waiting to get to turn 5, turn 6, so you can play your big boy and then either just burn him to death or swing or victory strike. So, like I said, I still didn't see my top arena. So I was like, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt a lot.
Yeah. What was going through your mind there? Just kind of passing. Is that what you wanted to do, or were there other actions that you wanted to make?
With my list, I didn't have anything. Thinking about what was in my hand at the time, because I think I had I think I had one of each 6-drop in hand. And then I think maybe a bean. I'm not sure. But I just couldn't play anything, and I couldn't see what I was drawing into, so it was just more or less just a crapshoot at this point. Like, can I survive another 6 or 7 blows?
Yeah. Yeah. Invoker is not a match that I'm genuinely afraid of, but you're really good at bringing forward interesting texts in decks that are unexpected. And the go-to that I always think about is your Clash Coup, where it was a very dedicated hand control. And then I was like, okay, I'm dealing with the hand control, I'm dealing. And then you put the big Goku on the field that I wasn't expecting at all. So I didn't know what to expect here, if this was a very traditional, or you just utilizing the Invoker package to get you to a point in the game to play your spice. So
I don't think there's ever been a spicy Invoker list, to be honest. Because if there is one, I've never seen it or even heard of it. Like, the only thing
Launch is pretty interesting as an Invoker leader. That's been kind of floating around a little bit. It's been kind of interesting, kind of spicy.
No, we're gonna pretend he didn't say that.
Says
but
the guy playing Explosive Power Vegeta as his Invoker leader.
I have an argument on that one. I can actually use it to win.
I feel like that would have been a lot. That would have been a lot better with Tournament of Power on the field. I really feel like you not hitting Tournament of Power ultimately dampers you a little bit, because you didn't get that cycle that you really wanted to have.
Yeah, and it's the arena is really good, especially when if you see the cards that you can influence where the order they're going to be in. So if you can essentially get extra draws for free if you're using like the Royal Khan or the Emperor's Death Beam from Warp, or drop to Warp, to peak. So you're able to get a lot of intrinsic value just off that one field card, and that's pretty much how Invoker lives, right? You need to see it as early as possible, and not being able to see it's just death.
Yep. Here, I opted to tap 4 with the to play out the 4-drop Syn Shenron that you had counterplayed before, and I knew that was a risk based on how you do counterplays, but I knew I had to take that risk because you didn't do anything during your last turn. So that gave me the information that you probably didn't have a lot to do on your next turn. So if I could keep your leader from drawing, I could keep your choices limited. And with your hand size being so small, I wasn't afraid of being catablowed out. And I didn't think that you could get into Rival Seeker with me having a Sen on the field. So it just felt worth it. Or, I did have Poutine. I did have Syn Shenron still on the field. So there's really only one card in your list that I'm not even sure is there that I was really afraid of. And that would have been, we're in this together.
Yeah.
Because you could have just wiped my whole field. And that would have completely changed the turn of this battle.
Well, Death Beam is another really powerful card in the list too, and I could have hit the blank Shenron and still have been able to play out Rival Seeker. I would have just done that first Rival Seeker and then the rest of my turn. But I earlier this night too, I played Bancroft's yellow Frieza list, and I was saying before, yellow with one open energy is scary. Like you don't know what card they're gonna play to stop you, or just final flash you, and then they're just like, well, fuck, I guess I lose. So it's always scary playing against yellow nowadays because everyone has that card, at least at our shop. So it's you know it's there, and it's just, can I play around it if they have it in hand? And then at this point, as you can see, like, I'm struggling. Like, I don't like, I comboed away my Invoker Vegeta. Like, I have to survive.
I was absolutely floored that you were able to combo out of all those attacks. It was wild. And this is the reason that I really wanted another Omega Shenron. I think I milled one on one of my Nova effects, so I did not have. There's one in my charge and my energy. There's one in my drop area, and had I had access to Omega there, I think you were dead. But instead, I had to risk the pass.
Yeah, and this play right here is just fate playing the cruelest joke on me. There's the top.
Oh my god!
That actually made you scoop. Like, you're like, that's game, man. I can't do anything.
You were like, yeah, that's game. I felt so bad.
No.
I literally couldn't do anything. Seeing top there, and the funny thing about that too is I had no way to draw it, so I would just see it there, pass my turn, then just lose. So I was like, you know what, just fuck it. Just I was just like, we're done.
You were hoping for a good action card, I think, like a red-blue action card to put into your hand, right, to hold off your opponent's next turn. And
yeah, I was looking for literally anything, and that was the one card that just would not have helped, because it's the very end of the game, and there's randomness playing a cruel joke.
The thing that you needed turn one.
Yes.
Orange Jesus was not with you.
And I had the Fu in hand, so unless you had a counterplay that just kept Fu from being relevant.
it was hard to tell. About 2/3 through the video, Fluffy held up a card to the camera, and it was not Xenocell. It was Xenocell. Because you were doing your search for, I think, a Shenron Dragon or whatever, and you had gotten the Xenocell, and then you're like, oh, that's a card you want to see. And then
I saw, and then the next search was Fu Shrouded.
Yeah.
And then I actually did draw into Fu Shrouded, and I was telling Nick, all night I saw one super combo, and I did not draw the secret rare once in any of my games.
I mean, it happens. Well, the Jurassic Park Evolution took it that time. And with that,
who would have guessed?
What?
Who would have guessed?
Oh yeah. With that being said, thanks y'all. I still can't talk apparently, so thank you all for joining us. People, final words, Jimmy.
I think Bancroft zooted off some Benadryls over there, bro. I don't know what he's taking.
Jake.
If you want to win, you have to practice. And if you want a good game to practice, try Zoo Tycoon, despite what Jimmy says about it.
Boo.
Nick?
Yeah, one piece of advice. Update your deck lists every now and then. I haven't touched this deck in over a year, and the meta has changed, believe it or not. So, yeah.
Tanner?
Don't let your shop locals bully you out of playing green.
You told me that too late.
I know. That's hindsight's 2020.
And Fluff, would you lead us out?
Deck's really fun. I'm sorry that your deck bricked so bad. I legitimately felt bad because you actually scooped. I always hate that feeling. But although I do want to bring this up, maybe it's petty. That is payback for negating my 9-drop Syn Shenrons and then KOing it with the Gogeta that made me quit Shenron in the first place. So, read your cards, know your plays, update your decks, and like always, fluff out.